Okay. So in the project we have profile photo. Now whenever we have upload thing, okay, means whenever we are working in the project and we have some like logo upload or profile image upload or something, either Excel upload, PDF upload, it can be anything. So whenever we have upload thing, either your project is normally like previously we used to have that we used to upload file into folder, means when in API side now when we create the API, we in API project we used to create a folder and there we used to upload. Okay. And from the front end application, when we used to hit that API, that whatever the file you pass along with the API, that file used to go to that particular folder. But now since we got cloud, what is there now? Let's say in AWS, we have S3 bucket. Okay. So this is our file server. Just like that in Azure, we have blobs or kind of something. This is also file server. Okay. This is on the backend side. You don't have to worry, but just to have a information. Previously, what we used to do, we used to create a folder, or before that also, no, we used to store the file into database also directly. Okay. We used to convert that into byte format and then we used to store that into database directly. But that was taking so much of space and it was making our database very slow. Like that, it was happening. So then we started storing the file into our API particular folder. Then we got cloud, so we got separate servers for handling the files. Okay, but either in all the scenario, what we need to do, we need to upload file means from means when we got the API. So it's a normal API. It will be a post API. We have to upload a file along with this API. Okay. And then that file gets stored into either S3 bucket, blobs, or in a particular folder. Then that uploaded file, we need to show it also somewhere. Let's say we have selected the file, we have uploaded that. Now, if you check the API first, the save API, mm, post. Okay. Now, if you see over here, profile photo URL. So this is what our property is there. So what we need to do whenever like in all the application, this is the same standard got followed. Okay. When we select the file, let's say 70%. In some APIs like with object also and the file also, you send it in the same API. But in some APIs, what you want to do, first you will select the file. Once you change the file, you have to trigger the API. And from the API, you get a unique file name. And that file name you have to pass along with your object over here. Okay. So whenever we are doing the file upload, you have to upload the file first. On change of it, you get the file name and that file name you have to assign it over here. Then you will create the employee with this detail. Understood? So it's not like you select the file on click of submit, you are uploading the file. Currently, my API is like that. On change of the file, you need to upload the file and it will return a unique file name. That file name you have to provide it over here. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. Now, how do we upload a file? Let's go to our employee component. Okay. So this is our file tag. Now, which event I will write over here? I need to write a event on the file select. What event I will write? Click or change?
Click.
No. See, when we click, what happens? Just the pop-up will open. Na? When I need to write, when I change the value. Okay. So normally with input type text box, change event won't work, but in case of input type file, change event will properly work. Okay. So see now, change on file, select. Okay. And here we will pass $event. Let's create this function. And here we will get the file object. Let's add a debugger. Let's save. See now, I clicked on it. I got the file picker. I selected. On click of open, you got the event. And here you in the file you see we got the whole object file dot target. File dot target dot files. Okay. See, this was the file we selected, so we got the file. Whenever we you write means how you get the file. So file dot target dot files. So we can upload multiple files also. Like that's why we get the array. So file, and in that you can see this is the file we selected. That physical file looks like it. Means file name, size, type. Okay. This is nothing but your file which you selected. Now this file you need to send it along with your API. Okay.
Sir, so what it goes in the API like from
Complete
our
physical
machine?
file. Complete physical file. Okay. So this is your upload file API. Okay. Now here what it needs, what's the data type it need? Multipart form data. See over here. Multipart form data. It's not a normal object. You have to send a file, means physical file you need to send. Either it's a PNG, JPG, PDF, Excel, something physical file you need to send. Okay. Let me show you it over here. If I select it, if I select this file, if I click on execute, in response, you see, we got this. And this is the file name what you got. Okay. And this file name you have to assign to your object. And then you will then you will create the employee. Okay. So now this API you need to make. We have HTTP now. Let's create HTTP object over here. Okay. Now here this dot HTTP dot post. This is URL empty object, because if you see this, we don't have any object over here. What we need to send? File, but it's a post API. So post API needs two parameter, URL and the object. So that's why I'm passing the empty object over here. Okay. Dot subscribe from bracket. Okay. Now, along with this API, I need to send the form data. Okay. So for that, we need to create a form data. What was it? Form data. New. Anyone remember what do we send?
Value, sir.
No, no. That object we need to create now. Form data, no? What I was writing then? Okay, it was there. Okay. Now, form data is something like uh, it's like a data you are passing, but that data you are not passing as an object. Okay. So you are creating a new, what do we say for the form data? Means when there was .NET application and the Java application only, when there was no Angular or very pure HTML. So when you click on the submit input type submit button, na, so whole your form data means whole your like whatever the elements you have text box drop down and name property we used to add, right? So it used to create what the object we normally create, right? On click of save, on click of submit, and if your button type is submit, right, it used to create an object directly by reading the name attribute. So that was nothing but form data. Now what we do, we create an object and that object we pass it along with the API. But previously we used to do with the form data. So that is this form data. Okay. So you create the form data and inside that form data, you need to append. Like how do you create an object, right? So just like that key value pair data you can assign to this form data. See, form data dot append. This is your key name and this is your value. Okay. So form data dot append. What's the file name I need to send? File, I think. Let's try file. And then where we get the file. So file dot target dot files. And we just want to send the first file because files was getting an array. Okay. And we created this form data and now this form data we have to pass along with our API. Okay. Let's add a debugger over here. And our API will return the object. And from that object, whatever value we got, file path, file name, and the message. So we need to use this file name. And this file name, we need to assign it to our form. So in this employee form, we have this. That is the file name, profile URL. So in this property, in this control, since this is a reactive form, so in this control, we need to assign. So this dot employee form dot controls your bucket single quote profile URL dot set value result dot, what's the property name, file name. So this is something unique file name which I have generated from the API. Okay, let's try this now.
Ketan, I think we have to give the full file name, file path.
Which file path? Where?
No, you assign only the file name, right? I think we have to give the full file path.
No. We are passing the complete file. Na? See, from here we are extracting the complete file. Like from your
That's fine for the controls you are assigning, right, in the set value. Because it will render from
no, not the
different
file path.
region.
See, that file path is your physical file path. See, this file path you are saying, na? This is you are saying, na?
Hmm.
No, this is just where we have uploaded it. See, inet, this is my,
You need to render, right, somewhere.
yeah,
That
so we will use this file name to render that, not this. This is the actual file name which got, in my server, we have a folder, right? In that folder, this is the file name. This file got uploaded with this file name. Okay. This
okay.
is just a local path of that. We will use this part to show it. We have this file name. Let's say you open this employee anywhere here, right? So in employee that you will get the file profile URL property and inside that you will have this file name. And by using this file name, we will attach it in front of this. This will be constant. Now, why you need to store this whole thing?
Okay.
Just your file name according to every employee. This is just the
Yeah,
unique
yeah, that's
something.
right.
So that's why we will be able to show it.
Okay. If we have a path somewhere, then definitely it will.
Right. Okay. Let me show you this. Hmm. Let me press, API dot redirection. Something is missing. Uploaded file name dot png. Let me try where we have used that. Okay, let's first import the file, then we will see the how do we show that. Let's say we will create a record first. Rahul.
Sir, from our system, what we are sending, like bytes of the file?
No, no, complete file object. We didn't completed this. Let's try. Okay. So here we are creating the form data. Inside that we are uploading the first file. See, file is an array, right? From that we are selecting the first file.
Sir, can you show me how the object look like? Oh,
See na?
a size. Okay.
Everything means now you cannot see the image over here. It will convert into some other format.
Like these property convert into image, right?
Huh?
Like size value converts that one into an image. So
Means
the size property double
huh?
five double triple one
That's the
nine.
size of the file.
I think
Byte. What do we, KB,
okay.
something KB size. Okay. Continue. Hmm. Why it is saying bad request? 400.
4200.
File size. Okay. So see what error I have got. File size should not be exceed than 500 KB. So currently what the file we have sent, it was having some more file, right? More size. So let's use a file which doesn't have that much space. Because on the backend side, I have added the validation. Hmm, let's see the size of it. Hmm. Let's select this file. I'm choosing from the desktop now. Okay, this has 12 HTML Chrome document. Let's use this one. Continue. Okay. So see, file got uploaded because I have sent the proper size file now. In the result, I got this and this file name. Okay. This we are attaching to our employee form. Okay. Let me hold this somewhere. This is the file name which got created after we upload the file. Now, how do we open that? Let me check the project. Um, how do we show that? Glitch, glitch, glitch. Um, in which project we have used that? We need a URL. To just a minute. Let me find the project where we have used that. Where we have used that. Now we need the URL, and in front of that URL, we attach the file name, whatever we have uploaded. So I'm checking like where in that project we have created that. Uh-huh. Just a minute. What was the folder where we kept that? Just a minute. Let me open the server. Okay, I'm opening the server. Let's see how the URL should be. I'm using this gRSM server. Inside that we have a what do we say, subdomain. Okay, free API motopart grsm.in files uploaded file. This is the folder. What was our file name? 073534. At the end it will go there. See, 073504. So we have in this particular folder we have uploaded the file. But how do we open this? See, this was the file we uploaded. Let me check the URL. Mhm. How do we extract the file name? View. Change permission. I think we need to give some access to this folder, then we will be able to access it. Change permission. Permission for administrator. Read it is already there. Mhm. Hmm. Okay. So API was I was adding. Okay. So see, this was the file we uploaded. So this will be your URL. Now wherever we want to show the uploaded file name. Okay. So this will be constant URL and this file name you are going to get in your employee object. Okay. Let's say at the bottom of this only. So we have this file upload. After that, inside this, let's say, okay, image tag is already there. Okay. So here src, this will be your constant URL. After that, you just need the file name, whatever the file name you are going to upload. Okay. So let's create a normal variable for now. File name. And here also I am assigning the same file name, whatever we got. And this file name, I will add it over here. Let's do one more time. Select. We need a small one. Let's upload this. Why it is not visible? The same file not found. GPG, we got it. Okay, display none is there. Okay, so see. So we pass the complete URL, and after that URL, whatever the file name created, that we assigned over there. So now your uploaded file name is visible over here. Now imagine like you are creating multiple employees, and while creating employee in that object, you are assigning the file name, whatever the uploaded file name you got. Okay. So let's say you want to show the list of employees. So you will have this as static over there till now over here. And in the for loop, you will get the profile URL. So that you will assign it over here. So your dynamic URL will be dynamic along with the unique file name of each employee. Like that, that URL will be available. Understood? So this is the same design what we have to follow when working on the project also. When we upload the file, you have something unique name you get from after the upload. That unique name you assign it to your object. Okay. Like in our case, we have that profile URL, right? Just like that, if you are working on an e-commerce application, thumbnail image, and so many images are there, right? So you will assign that file name, whatever you got from the upload, that you will assign it to your file, that particular property. And wherever you want to show that, so you will use that property name, because in employee form, in this property, we are assigning the file name. Let's say you have a get employee. So in the get employee also, you will get this property name present. So wherever you want to show that, you will use like that. So this is your static URL to show the file, and after that you just need to provide the file name. Understood? Same structure we have to
So
follow.
file name can be anything or
Anything, na? Whatever you upload. This is like particular for a particular employee. Whenever you upload a file, you get a unique name. That unique name you have to assign it to your object.
unique name in the sense, is it the name of the file or?
No. It is created from the API. Every time it will be
Okay.
unique with your employee ID and current date and something unique name you will get.
Okay, that will be taken care by API.
Yeah. In response,
So
when you
this is
upload, you just get the file name.
this is without authentication, right?
What it has to do now with authentication?
Let's say if I that's a confidential document, right?
Hmm.
If I pass that URL to third person, he can see the document, but still he's not logging in the
So that course error and
website.
everything will be there, na? Request coming from that same domain. We will be allowed to that only, na? Understood?
Okay,
Same API, say if the request is coming from the same origin, then only we will allow. That is the server configuration. Angular has to
okay,
nothing to do with that.
okay, got it.
Okay. So you upload a file. On click of upload, you get the unique file name. That file name you assign it to your object. Okay. So now wherever you want to show the file name, let's say in employee list or when you open the employee, you get the particular property. That particular property, you assign it over here. So that uploaded file will be visible in the image tag. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I said, like most of the 70 to 60% follows this way. In some case, when you click on save, when you click on submit, at the time only you will send the object also and the file also. Getting it? In some case, on click of submit, you will pass the whole object also and the file also. Means on change of it, you won't upload the API. In the save API, if you need API like that, the API which will like, uh, it's allowing you to tag the file also and the object also, the employee object. So it's based on that. Okay. Let's ask this chat GPT. See, this is the API to upload the file only. Okay. See, like this, I'm going to get it and I'm going to store it into particular folder. Let's say my API is like, I can send employee object also and along with this file also. Okay. So see, on file select, you won't make the API call. You will store that into a variable, current file. Okay. What we were doing it over here, we were on change of the file, we were directly making the API call. Okay. So when you don't have, on click of submit, you need to store it. So what you will do, you will create a variable and inside that you will store the file. Okay. Then you create the form data. Inside that form data, you attach the employee, right? Whatever the object name you have. Then your actual employee data. See, either you can send the object or the form data. You cannot send both. To your post API, we can pass only one parameter over here. Let's say along with your API, you need to pass the object also and the file also. So now you cannot send form data and your employee object also. So there, in that case, you have to create a append, means like, what do I say like that? Let me show you the API. Stop. When we hit the API, it's nothing but a function in my API side. Okay. Let me show you what I'm talking now. Hmm. So you see this employee. So what, forget about this. This is your function name. This is a parameter name. Okay. So this is your parameter name employee. Okay. So when you pass the object, in case of post API, what you do, you don't pass it something into employee. You pass the object. So that object, you will get it over here. But let's say when you are doing with the form data, so you need to match this file name over here. So that's why over here, employee object you created in the form data, and within that you convert that object into string format, and within the blob also. Let me open this into new file. See, like this. So now within your form data, you are sending the object also, okay, and then your file also, whatever the files you look. So if your API is like that, within the API, you need to pass your whole object also and the uploaded file name also. So this structure you will use, because here you can pass only one parameter. So you now, instead of passing the object directly, you will create a form data. Inside that form data, you will append your employee data also and your file also. So two things you are passing along with your API, employee object and the file also. See over here, I'll be using form append. Whatever we are doing it over here, na, just like that over here. So these are the two scenarios we have. Either your file upload API will be different, or within the same uh, save API, you have to pass the object also and the file also. So this is the another way to do the file upload. Understood?
Sir,
Hmm.
we can send the employee data without making as object of blob, right? Or it's compulsory we have to send it as an instance of blob of employee data.
See, we are sending the form data, right? Whenever you are,
Yes.
if it's a not, it's not a normal object, right? Now that object you are assigning inside the form data. So form data needs blob kind of data only. When you upload a file, that is nothing but blob file, particular physical file. So that's why we have to convert it into blob only.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay.
Even this dot selected file is a blob file, right?
Yeah, physical file, that is for our physical purpose. But whenever you are making the API call and along with the API call you are passing, that gets converted into blob only. Byte
Mhm.
data 0101.
Got
Okay.
it.
Clear all. So for a file upload, this is one way when you have a different API for a file upload. And this is way when you have the same API for upload also and the save employee also. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, I'm keeping this code over here also so that you can have a reference to it. Surya Nagarjuna, any page you completed?
I've created a employee list, sir, but I didn't commit it.
Okay, you didn't commit it. Fine. Okay. Now in our project, we have a need of custom directive. So HR can create the basic employee. HR will only be able to create the basic employee because we have two roles, HR and the employee also. Now, if you see the UI, currently all links are visible. Let's say you logged in as an employee. Should you be able to update this data, department and designation? Let's say you logged in as an employee. Should you have an access to this page?
No.
Right?
No.
Only HR should be able to create the department and the designation. So this link should be dynamic. So how you will hide and show this? How you will hide and
Based on
show
the
this?
role.
Based on the role.
Right? Based on the role, you will do that. Let me see if we are getting the role or not first. No, we are not getting the role. Okay, no. How was the flow? How we understand this is HR.
You're getting the role.
We are getting role?
Yeah,
Where?
upside, up. Something somewhere I see.
In employee object, we don't have role property. No. What I thought like HR will only have one email, one login will be there for the HR. So I didn't added that role property in the employee object. I thought of like hard coding something. Okay. So what we will do, consider this application is going to use by only one HR. Let's say a small company is there and small company had one HR because I didn't have the property role in my employee object. Okay. HR is also nothing but employee only, na? So I should have added the role, but I didn't add that. Okay. So for now, what we will do, we will have two login, hardcode login for the HR. Okay. So if here I'm adding a check, like if this dot login object dot email is equal to hr@gmail.com and password mobile is equal to 112233. So now in the same login API, we are doing two types of login. If user has provided email as this and password as this, means this is a HR login. So we won't make the API call. Okay. In case of else only, we will make the API call. So means for HR, we don't have the API call login. We will be doing the hard code login. Okay. So that currently we don't have the role not present over there. So that's why I'm doing like this. Then local storage. Now here we are storing the login data, right? So let's store the same object. And along with this, we need one more property to identify the role. Local storage dot set item emp role. So in this case, I'm storing HR, and in the else case, I'm storing employee. Okay. So see, on the login, if user has provided this hardcode login, means HR at the Gmail and this is the password. So we know that this is a HR. So we are allowing him to log in. Where is the redirect? Yes. And in this if statement, we are storing the role as HR. And in the else case, we are storing the role as employee. Consider like currently we are not getting that role from the API, but if you got the API, same thing you will do, right? Instead of hardcode this will come from the API. Okay. Now, so when we are logging, we know the role in the local storage, we are storing it. Now, in our pages, right? So here, like, let's say this master data or this employee list, these two links are there or in the dashboard also. Okay. Because these three links should be only visible for the HR only. It should not be visible for the employee. So how you hide and show now? What you need to write? While login, we are storing
If
the data into local storage. Yeah.
yeah, we can
We have
according
to
to the
create
rule
a
we
chat
can make it tabular.
See, we are storing the role into our local storage. So we need to read that. And like that, we will add the if else
in a
condition.
TypeScript
Correct,
file.
na?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in layout component, we will read the your logged in role.
So we don't have a service
We
for
have
this.
there also we can create. Just like we have the role change. Okay, role change is already there. We created role. Okay, role change that other role, the drop down we for the subject and behavior subject we have created, I think. So in service, just like this logged in user subject, I'm creating one more subject for role. Here we use this role changes. Okay, this we are using. So logged in user role, logged role, data type string, empty. Okay, so I have created a variable in my service. Now, instead of storing it, we have to store it in the local storage also and the same variable also. So this dot user service dot logged role is equal to same property. I'm assigning it over here. And the same property over here also. So now in my service variable, I have the data of the logged in role. Now this also I can
HR.
directly use. Yeah.
That's HR, right?
Okay. So now in my service I have a variable there I'm storing the logged in role. So this I can directly use into my HTML. Have we imported? Yeah, user service is already there. So here at the Directive dot logged in role equal to HR. Then only this will be visible over here. Same like this master data also will be dynamic. Understood? So now menus are dynamic. If the logged in role is HR, then only the dashboard and the master data. And again, employee list also, because employee list should not be visible. Only all employees should be visible to the HR only. Let's test it out quickly. So this is the HR login. Login. So I'm able to see all the menus. Okay. Let's try to log in with the employee now. log of employee. Okay, so here you can see we are not able to see that. But see what happens. Menu is not visible, but we are still redirected to the dashboard. Is it correct? Something is wrong, right?
Yes.
What is wrong now? I logged in as an employee, but still I'm able to see the dashboard. This is not right, correct?
Guard we need to.
So you said to navigate by URL dashboard over there.
Right. So when we are logging, if the logged in role is HR, we are navigating to the dashboard. That is fine. But if the logged in role is employee, we should not navigate to the dashboard, correct? So
Yeah.
instead of dashboard, we will navigate to the page which only employee has, let's say experiences or something. Okay, this we handle. Let's do login again. Now it is correct. But still, I logged in as an employee. But if I try, or if we add just dashboard or something, I'm still able to access, right? I should not be able, I'm logged in as an employee, but dashboard page I'm able to access. This should not happen, right?
We
So
can
what should
add
we do?
Guard.
auth
Right?
guard.
We have to create a guard. Let's create a guard now. Auth guard is already there. What's the logic we have written in auth guard?
If there is data in the
No,
local storage,
but what data? What we are doing in this auth guard?
Login
we are
like
checking for
We are checking if the user is logged in or not,
logged in.
right?
Yeah.
If user is not logged in, we are navigating. Currently, user is logged in, but he doesn't have access to that particular page. That is what that question, na? Authentication or authorization. In every
Yeah.
interview, you are going to face that. So authentication is like checking if the user is logged in or not. User is already logged in, but
We can check
employee is
based on
trying
the
to
role.
access dashboard. But now it is
Yeah.
based on the role. So this is authorization. Understood?
Okay. Yeah.
So this is what you need to explain. Whenever they will ask you like what is the difference between authentication and authorization, you will explain the theory. Then they will ask you like in Angular, how do you implement that? So you will create two guard. One guard to check the logged in user is logged in or not. Okay. Another guard you will create to check the particular user has the access of that particular page or not. So for that you need one more guard. Okay. Let's create one more guard. ng generate guard role check. Okay. Which guard I need to get?
Can activate.
Can activate only. Now, before loading the page, I need to check the role. And if that role has access to that particular page or not. Correct or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me what logic I will write it over here.
If a role
We will get the
local
role.
storage
Okay.
auto.
First get the
First we
data
need to
from
create the
storage.
service. No service we have created. No? How do you create an instance of service into guard now? We don't have access to the constructor over here. So we have to use constant
Injection.
injection.
Inject.
What is that? A user.
Inject of name.
Okay. Now user service dot. It's not
Dot
suggesting.
get item.
No. In user service we directly stored, no?
What's the method name we have to call?
Logged. But no, why it is not suggesting that I'm saying that. Anyway, so we got the logged in role. Now, how you will check like the logged in role is, let's say you got the employee, and how you will check now if you are trying to access a dashboard and dashboard page doesn't have access to the employee, how you will check it.
If a role is employee, then return true. Otherwise, like return false.
Role is equal to,
So,
but where you
sir, we
added
have to
the
check
page check, na?
if the role has value or not.
Value.
We have to.
Yeah, that is there. Role value is there or not. Let's say role have a value, but this check is not sufficient, na?
Yeah, we have to check the route also. Route also.
Right? Which page you are trying to access, that also you need to check, na? Correct or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and in route, you will get the whole thing. Let's add a debugger and let's check first what data you get it into the route. Now we created the guard. This guard we need to apply it also, na? So in our route, role check guard. Okay.
Sir,
Hmm.
when the Angular application load that this card will get load or service will get initiate.
First guard will get load, na? Before
In that
activating.
case, role will be empty, right?
Okay. Yeah, we need to read the data again. Good point. So see what he has said. When I reload, in my local storage, we have the data logged in role. No, we don't have. How come? Okay, role. Okay, in my local storage, I have. But in my guard, what I did, I'm reading the data from the user service. Okay. Now, when we reload, my service will again reinitialize. So that time I don't have the role over there. See, undefined. So
Yes.
everyone understood the issue. What is the issue now? When you are logging for the first time, you will have the data. See, let's log in again.
Yeah, because service will execute
Right?
only once.
Currently, I'm login. If I go to dashboard now, no, still role is undefined. Why it is behaving like this? User service. Something is wrong over here, inject. Small inject, na?
Sir, we have to create a subject
No, no, no.
behavior over that
No,
role.
no.
Behavior subject.
No. See, behavior subject also when you reload, that will also get destroyed. We use capital inject. See earlier that properties were not coming, right? So we need small inject. Logged in role. Let me show you one more time. Okay, I'm logging for the first time. Continue. So here I got the role. Okay. And we need to check the route also now. So in route, what route currently user is trying to access, so that you get it over here. State. Yeah. Okay. The state directly you are getting it. State.url. And after the hyphen dot slash, you get the path name, which user is trying to visit. Okay. After login, we navigate, if the role is employee, we navigated into that experience. So see, what's the route you are trying to access, that you get it over here. Okay. Route state.url. But let's continue also. If user refresh, okay. Now you see role won't be there. By default, it is empty. Why it is empty? In first case, when we log in and we redirected value, we were able to get it. But now it is empty. Why it is empty?
Because the service instance hasn't been created yet.
Okay. No, service instance got created. That's why we are able to access. If service
Oh.
instance was not, it will be undefined. Service instance got created.
Oh, at that time,
Here in the data, local data, and
Hmm?
refreshing. Local data is getting cleared.
No, local data is also there. See, role is there.
Oh, it's a life cycle. First,
Sorry,
we explicitly call that method to set the value, to get the value, sorry, when we log in, right?
no. EMP role is there. First of all, everyone understood what is happening. Let me show you one more time. This is very important how you understand the service and how does service behave. Okay, I'm logging. Let me remove all the debugger first. So many debugger are there. Okay, only here I will keep my debugger. Okay, I'm logging it for the first time. First of all, understand what we did. When we are logging, we are storing the value into local storage also and in a service variable also. Okay. And in the guard, I'm accessing the service variable role. Okay. Now see what happens. When I log in, this time I have the data. Okay. First time login. If I refresh, now I don't have the data.
Okay, service variable is getting
We have to call that method in constructor of the service.
Everyone understood the issue first? What is happening when you are logging and you are navigating? You have that data in the service variable. But if we refresh, that data is not there. Okay. Why is happening like this? Why service variable got removed? The data we stored got removed. Why?
We are not calling the get method.
Which get method, Karan? Where is get method?
I think we did not in
To
dependency.
set the
service
variable
data
value,
is
right?
getting refreshed, and then we are not again setting it, right?
Yeah, that is the reason. But why it is getting removed? That I need. Why it is getting removed? See now.
Instance is something.
Hmm?
The
When
new
we
instance is get
refresh,
created, right?
See, I'm adding a debugger on the constructor. When constructor will get execute?
When
When
the object
constructor
of
will
the
when
class created.
Class
call the
class is
class invoked, when it is
class
invoked.
is
okay. Whenever your object get created for the first time, they at that time constructor will execute. Okay. So when you reload, your whole application initialize again. See, constructor got executed. So means this whole class object got created again. So now if you see over here, this dot log got empty. Okay. When we do the login and when we redirected, at that time service object was already created. So this service object didn't create again when we redirected. So at that time data was there. But if you reload, your service variable again get reinitialized with the whatever the default value you have. Right? Like by default it is empty. So that's why whenever you remember, like we did this, same thing was happening in the logged in data also. So same thing over here. Whenever your service variable get reinitialized again, you need to read the local storage data and you need to assign it back so that whenever your service get reinitialized, whenever user login again or reload again, right? So you will have that data assigned it over here. We need to add a null check. Not equal to null. Why it is giving error? Oh, this is our variable now. String all null. We added a null check, right? Let's store it into a variable. Constant role. And then we will add a null check of it. Okay. Now what will happen when you reload, your constructor will get executed, and in constructor again we are assigning the value to the role. Okay. Now it will behave the fine. If I refresh, see my constructor got executed. I'm reading the local story and assigning to the variable again. So now here you have the role. Understood? So whenever you are playing with the service variable, first of all, we should not play. But there are scenarios where we have to store some data into service in your subject or in your local variable. So whenever your service got initialized, you need to again store the value. Understood? Because whenever you reload, your service get reinitialized again. So data will be lost. Same case happen with the either it is a normal variable subject or behavior subject. Data will get lost. Clear? So on the service instance, whenever a service object get created, we are assigning that value again to that variable, reading from the local storage. So that's why when we log in, we need to store some data. So we have to store it in on the browser storage only. We cannot store the data into our code because service variable or component it gets reinitialized again. So that data won't be there. So that's why we have to store something into our browser memory only, either local storage, session storage, cookies, somewhere, but we need to store it. Okay. So interviewer will try to confuse you with this only, like why we can store the data into our service variable or component or somewhere. But when you reload, that is going to get emptied. So in the browser level, you have to store it. Understood? Clear or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so what here, if role is employee and state dot URL is equal to slash. Now, what are the roles we need to add? Dashboard. Now, shall I add multiple add or something else? Because we need to add a 3 pages check. Employee list. Why it is giving error over here? And third is like master. Why it is giving error over here? Dashboard employee have no overlap means anyway. So will this code work or do I need to change something? Will
We
this
need
work?
more
Forget
condition.
about the error,
No,
okay?
no.
What we need to do over here?
We need to add or condition.
Or condition, right? So if role is employee, instead of and, here another bracket. If the state is dashboard or this, see error got away now.
We should
Or
have
this.
and, right?
Huh?
After employee,
And
we should.
Yeah, here we need and. Okay. Why some bracket is come? Yeah, one more bracket we need. See
Use.
what I'm writing. If the role is employee and if the URL is out of this, anything condition gets satisfied, I need to return false. Okay. And in else, we need to return true. But returning false is it enough returning false? Is returning false is
Route,
enough? We need to
route
navigate
way
him,
to
right?
Redirect.
So we will create one more page for that unauthorized or something, and there we redirect. In our application, normally when we work, we create one more component. One component will be for the that wildcard route, page not accessible. One more component we create for the for showing the info like the component which you are trying to access, you don't have access to that component for role based. So there we navigate. Understood? So here, instead of going back to the login, we will have one more. We have to navigate to another component where we will show that you are trying to access a page which you don't have something. Understood? So this is like role guard we create. So now on all pages, we will be having two guards executing. First our auth guard and then our role check. Understood? So now two guards will execute. Whenever I'm trying to access the page from it, my first guard, this can activate guard will execute, which will check like if the user is authenticated or not. Then it will check the role guard. If that particular particular user has the access to the page he is trying to access. Understood? Clear or no? This is role-based guard we need to explain. In so many application, let's say currently we just have 5 to 6 routes, so we have added like this. But is this sufficient way to write it? Let's say you have around 20 to 30 routes. Will it be a good solution? Adding multiple or.
No, sir.
No, we
Then what
should
we need
have
to
a
do,
const.
right? So we have to store, we create a menu item. Okay. Whatever the menus we have now, whatever the route, we create a constant of it. And while storing the data, where is the constant? Export const menus items. Okay. So here menu. What is giving error? Sorry. Object. Now here menu name something, let's say dashboard route and here we specify the role. Like this particular menu dashboard, who is going to have the access? So HR. Okay. So we create our menus like this. What are the routes we have created? Along with that, we create it, but along with the role. Okay. And then instead of this hard code, we find the roles which HR has, and then we change our code. So now this is like dynamic. Instead of hard coding this, we are creating a menu array, and from here we will be filtering it. Understood? Okay. So big application, we have a menu array also like this. And with this, we filter and we, instead of this hard code, we check it from the array. Okay. Because if it's a small application, this is fine. You add a hardcore check over here. But let's say you have around 50 to 60 routes. You cannot hardcode that over here. No? You need that route should come from a list. So we store it into constant. Okay. Sometimes we do this. Sometimes instead of adding in the layout, currently we just have this all static, right? So instead of having this static, we filter the data also from over here based on the role. We filter the role and then we show it like this. So let's say if logged in role is HR, so we will get filter the menus where role is HR and we will get two role. So instead of this static, we will filter the array and then we will iterate dynamically. The dynamic menu also we can create. Understood? We have the array over here. We will filter it out. Let's say this dot menu data dot filter where role is equal to HR. So we will get two menu. Then we will store it into array and we will use that. This is static. So we will have if for loop over here. And we will make it dynamic. Okay. Are you able to relate? I'm just explaining that code. I will share a library to, I will share a project today. There we have whatever I'm explaining now, that I have explained. Code is also there. Try to go through it once. Okay. Understood, role guard?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one more custom directive we will create. Where was it? New employee. Let's say you logged in as a HR. HR can create this much information. Okay. HR will be able to create this much information, but employee won't. Employee can only add his experience and his bank detail. But if an employee is logged in, he need to see all the details also, no? So this detail we have it over here. But if the logged in role is employee, all this field should be disabled. Okay. This detail, the basic detail, HR only can update. Okay. What employee can do? He can only add his experience and his bank detail. Only two things he can do. But if an employee is logged in, he can see his detail also, na? So this page will load with the employee data. Whatever the logged in employee is there, this page will load like that. But if the logged in role is employee, in this page, we need to keep all the field disabled. How you will make that? If the logged in role is employee, all the field over here, we need to make it disabled.
Read only.
So in the one way is like, yeah, read only or that disabled. So in employee component, on all the input element, you will add the disable check, right? There is text box. So disabled, and here you will pass, here you will read the, okay, you have already done it over here, no? What is it? Employee. Okay. One way to do is like this. On all the element, you will add the role check like this. Why it's not disabling? Okay, vice versa. Okay. If not HR, we will disable it. Okay. If the role logged in role is not HR, we will disable it. But having this disable flag, you need to add it in all the element, right? So wherever you have a requirement that this thing you are going to do and you are going to do it multiple time. Let's say in this component also, again, one more component is there where if the logged in role is HR or employee, you need to disable that. So again, this code will go over there everywhere. So instead of doing this, we create a custom directive for it. What you will write in the custom directive? If I have told you, like, if the logged in role is something, you need to disable it. What you will do it in the custom directive? Or can we create a directive for this? Whatever you are doing it over here, you are disabling the particular text box. If the role is not HR, you are disabling it. Instead of writing this on every field, can we move this code into directive or no? What is directive used for, first of all? What's the use of directive?
To change the HTML element behavior.
Right? The definition of directives allows you to change the behavior of the DOM element, right? So this is nothing but your text box. So whatever you are disabling and enable, this thing you can do it from your directive also, no? Okay. Let's create a directive. Ng generate directive disable for employee. So whatever you written over here, that same code we are moving it over here. Okay. So first we need to read the, we need to inject that service, because in the service we have the role, right? So private service. Okay. Now here, if user service dot role is equal to employee. What I will write it over here. This is my directive. I got the rule. Now I need to disable the particular text box. Let's say this directive, I will add it over here also. Instead of this, I will add my directive over here. We need to import it also. Disable. Okay. I added the directive over here also, over here also. Now tell me what logic you will write it over here. How you will make that particular element disabled. See, we create a directive. This directive, we are going to add it on the every element, whatever the element we want to disable according to the role. Okay. Now tell me how you will disable that particular element over here.
It element ref.
Right? Element ref na, what's the directive? Wherever you are adding this directive, you need to get an access of that element. Then you will disable it. Right? So we have to create instance of element ref. So here you got the reference of the element. Here, this dot element ref dot native element dot. What was that property? Na? No, I think renderer we have to use instead of this. Renderer to add attribute was something was there. Na? Set attribute. Attribute name will be disabled. What type of data it needs? Expected 3 to 4 parameter. Element name. Okay, we need the reference of the element also. Wait. Element ref also we need. Private renderer. Okay. So this dot render dot set attribute. See how many parameter this need? It needs the element, key value, the property name and the value. So element reference means nothing but this dot element reference. Here you get the element, then key and then value. Okay. So I need the disabled. Let's check the JavaScript. Set attribute disable. Disabled only, na? Disable and property true. String type of data we need. Let's check it. Let's add a debugger. So we added this directive on this particular text box. Okay. Let's check now. Something is breaking. Set attribute is not a function. Okay. The logged in role is employee. So it will go over here in the element reference. You got the reference of that particular text box. Okay. Continue. Why it is breaking? Set attribute el dot set attribute is not a function. Renderer is undefined or what? Renderer is not undefined. Set attribute. Element is also there. Verbs breaking. Here is there, but set attribute is not there on the element. Strange. Let's try. What we have to search? 1, 2, disable element from directive. Let's check. Same thing we did, no? Renderer. Okay, ng on changes. Why we'll do it ng on changes? Let's try in the ng on changes, because I think in constructor our HTML page is not rendered yet. Might be possible. But no, without HTML page, how directive will implement? Let's try. Disable true only, no? Set attribute. Okay. See, what we passed over here, completely element reference service. But what we need, particular element, na, native element. Here we will get the access of that DOM element. Now it should work. But still it is not working. Error is also not there. So disable property is not working or what? Disabled. Disabled true. State attribute. Element reference we have passed. It's breaking. It's not going inside. Why? Okay. ng on changes we are writing, so it will need input change only. Okay, so see, when does ng on changes will trigger? When will ng on changes trigger?
In the case of input and
Input
output.
only. Okay, so we don't have an input, so ng on changes won't trigger anytime. Okay, let's use after we win it. Let's try now. Okay, so see, it got disabled. But let's say if we change the role to HR, if I refresh again, text box is enabled. Okay. So whenever you have role-based applications, obviously role-based application is there. So for some users, some things are editable. For some users, some things are not editable. Sometimes we have to hide and show. So like we have to create a custom directive, just like ng, but with role also. Okay. Currently what we are doing by using custom directive, we are just disabling the field. Sometimes let's say for some user, you don't have to show some particular field also. Add or edit button. You don't want to show, right? So in that case, just like ngif directive, we create our custom directives also, which will have role condition, and based on that, we will hide or show. Okay. So whenever you are working on the role-based application, so many custom directives and custom guard you have to write based on the role check. Okay, understood? So instead of writing that disable check everywhere, you are moving that code into your custom directive and you will use that directive over there. Clear now?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is very important for interview purpose. Whenever they ask you authentication, obviously role-based check, role-based applications are there, what you will do. These questions will be there. So we have to create a guard also to check the role and the directive also. Clear? Okay. Suryan, Nagarjuna, can you please push the code today? Again, I will check if something is missing. Surya, left. Okay. Anyone having any question?
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else preparing?
There is a new thing came up after next render. What's that?
It got removed. It was there in 16, but now it is removed. Next render. Lifecycle event was there. It got removed now.
Oh,
Chetan, as
Hmm.
of now, we are checking the roles from the local storage, right?
Right.
But as a product, or if it is very important roles, what we are checking, that will not come from the local storage, right? Ideally, in the
Currently,
live project.
we are not reading from the local storage. We are reading from the service. And in the service, we are assigning it. In the service, we are reading the local storage.
Whatever it is, but
Hmm.
still we are dependent with the local storage only, right?
As I
If it
said,
is
now,
that the right way.
but see, if you don't store it in the local storage, session storage, or cookie, and once you refresh, your application is going to re-render again. Whole application is going to reinitialize. So you won't have the data then, right?
Yes.
Somewhere in the browser you need to store. Otherwise, if you are reloading, that data is lost. You are
Yeah,
not.
because what why I'm asking
Hmm.
that data can be tampered, right?
Yeah, that data can be tempered, correct. But what other solution is there? You need to store the data into your browser somewhere. Medium can be anything, session storage, local storage, cookies, but everything can be extractable, right? Even if you store the data into cookie, you can extract that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So there is no way. We know like data is going to be tampered, but we need to store something in the browser. Again, we can implement the encryption also, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to depend on the browser because when you reload, your application reinitialize again. That data will be lost. So we need to rely on the browser storage.
But the thing is that for checking purpose, first
Hmm.
we have checked with the HR, I mean employee. After that, you changed to HR, right?
Hmm.
But um, but that is not the right way, right? We
Yeah, that's what
blindly
I'm
believe
saying.
that we blindly
But
believe the
see,
value whatever
even
it is coming.
cookies also you can change it over here, right?
Mm.
So there is no way that you can have everything. What we can do, we need to store something, either user ID or role or something, either
Now,
user ID.
what I'm asking, do we need to do a double check every time with the value what it is coming from the local storage with the actual value from
How
there?
you will check? If I
Maybe
change just like I have changed, right?
uh,
How you will know like this value is
then
not
again
changed
we
or
need
not?
to check whether the value whatever it is coming from the local storage is right or not
How
from
you
the
will
DB
check that?
value. Again,
Again,
we
you
have to
will
do a service call. Yeah,
API call you will do, but let's
yeah.
say on every reload you are making the API call. That is
Mm.
also not correct, na?
Yeah, that's not correct. But I'm just wondering how the other applications like
We
the big
don't worry about
platforms
that.
are.
We don't
The,
worry that much. See,
mm,
if you are working on a Facebook or Insta, there are
mm,
so many mechanisms they might be doing. They might afford the API call on
mm,
every
mm,
reload. But
mm.
normally, let's say if you talk about the AWS now, whenever you
Yeah,
make the API call, your billing get increased,
correct,
right?
correct. That I
You
understood. Yeah,
cannot make API call like that.
yeah. Mm, for every page or every action, we cannot
We
do
cannot
double
make
checks.
API
Yeah.
call because ultimately billing will increase that much.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So we don't worry that much. If user is changing, because we are already checking, na, if user is logged in or not. Let's say logged in user is doing something, then we don't have any control over that. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Like that we do.
Do we able to hide these values, right? Is there any
No, we
thing?
cannot because
Or
everything is available over here. Even cookie, local storage, browser cookies, everything is available over here.
else we have to give some random names because now
Yeah,
we are
random name.
giving the
No,
actual values,
see,
right?
the key name is
Like,
also encrypted. Now it's a
mm,
employee role, so you are able to see it. But let's say
uh,
this is also encrypted.
mm,
Then at least you are adding some restriction.
yeah.
We cannot handle everything. This also you can encrypt, this also you can encrypt. So user won't be able to understand what is he is modifying. But again, like if someone wants to break it, he will change everything. Right?
Yeah. Because in a live application, if you see, it will be like it will not be a meaningful value like underscore A, underscore B,
Right.
something else only will be
Something
there.
or
Like,
no,
that's how it will
best
be.
way is encrypted, not meaningful. Encrypted only. Right? This also
Okay.
encrypted and this also encrypted. Okay. Now in your code, you can
Can we
decrypt
have
that.
one sample for that also, maybe from the upcoming session, like one
Yeah,
encryption?
that library is there. Na? What was that library? Some libraries there. 2, 3 libraries are there which we can use to encrypt and decrypt. I will check that. Okay, fine then. Anyone having any question again? Okay.
And regarding the
Yeah. Yeah, Dinesh. Go ahead.
playlist, Chetan,
Okay, yeah, playlist.
can we
You can
have?
also create, I think. Okay, let me create it today. I will create. Fine. Let's connect tomorrow.